Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. If you hear a small noise in the background, I am recording this in my car because I never get a moment alone in my house, so I have to be creative. And when there's a will, there's a way. But anyways, on July 21st, we have a full moon in Capricorn at 29 degrees. This is a blue moon, which does not happen that often. That's why we have that expression, once in a blue moon. However, it holds a very important meaning because it's happening at a critical degree at the 29 degree of Capricorn, which is the last one. And it really talks about closures. This full moon is in conjunction to Pluto, and it's creating positive aspects to Mars, which is sitting at 0 degrees in Gemini, but also to Neptune in Pisces. On this very day, Venus is making a positive aspect to Jupiter and also to the nodes, which I think is wonderful. However, we do have an intense aspect, which is Mercury sitting in a square to Uranus, and it will bring some intensity. So this full moon is sitting with Pluto. That in itself, it's pretty intensive too. However, I do think the results that we're going to get out of this full moon could be more on the positive side. It's important to mention that this this full moon, it's happening it's happening closer, or it's reactivating that great conjunction we had in December 2020. So for a lot of us, we're gonna see the same themes that we saw back in December 2020, or related to those decisions that happened back in our lives back then. For example, for myself, in December 2020, I decided to move to the other side of the country, to the other side of the continent, and that was a big decision I made, and I think this is still going to be associated with that, with some type of relocation, some type of moving, as I'm already talking and working towards that. Although this whole 4 years have been all about moving, but I'm hoping that this is going to bring closure to that. That's the theme of this full moon, closure. Things are coming to ending. Anyway, I will start with the 12 zodiac signs. Please keep in mind that I'm a Western astrologer and I follow tropical zodiac. If you resonate with my videos and you really want to book a reading with me, you can do so through my website, taking you to thestars.com under the services tab. Without further ado, let's start with the 12 zodiac signs. Hello dear Aries suns, moons and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. Aries, on July 21st, we have the full moon in Capricorn happening at 29 degrees in your 10th house. This is very important for you, Aries. This talks about some type of closure, some type of completion when it comes to your career, your public reputation, and your status. For a lot of you, you may be achieving something, you may be in the spotlight when it comes to, again, your career, public reputation, and how other people see you. This full moon is in conjunction to Pluto, and it brings a lot of intensity. Full moons in general are pretty intense, but couple that with Pluto is going to feel very deep, very transformative, and very important for you. And for some of you Aries, you could even come to power during this full moon. You may be rewarded for the work that you've done in your 10th house matters, and now you're coming to power. You may earn some type of position to where you lead other people and others see you as an authority figure. The moon rules your 4th house, so for a lot of you, you can feel this in the emotional level. You can feel this very deeply within you. Something very transformative could be happening for a lot of you Aries. And since this is happening in an angular house, it's also activating your 1st, your 7th. So for a lot of you, you may just feel something important in your career that makes changes and transformation to your house matters, to your identity and who you are as a person, but also your partnership, your marriage if you are in one, or just the way how you relate with others and how other people see you. What I love about this full moon is that it's creating a positive aspect to Mars, your ruler, which is sitting at 0 degrees in Gemini in your 3rd house. And this can talk about a lot of you Aries making important communication and you could be the person that does so, since Mars rules you. But you are making important communications, important connections associated with your career and public reputation, but also with your status. You may be feeling very inspired, very driven to make this important closure when it comes to your career and public reputation. As I mentioned in the intro, this full moon is reactivating that great conjunction point that we had back in December 2020. So look back in time. What happened? What did you decide to do or to change in your life back then that this full moon is going to reactivate and probably bring to a closure, probably have some type of ending associated with it. This full moon is also creating a positive aspect to Neptune in your 12th house, and this may talk about feeling very spiritual, hopeful, and optimistic about this ending, feeling some type of relief, and this can also take a spiritual connotation to it, to where you feel full and completed within yourself, and you kind of feel that this is somehow fated, this is somehow meant to be the way that it's going. On this day, Venus in your 5th house is making positive aspects to Jupiter in your 3rd house. And I absolutely love this. Venus in your 5th house talks about being self-confident enough, being creative enough to be able to deal with this full moon, with this completion in this area of your life. And Jupiter transiting your 3rd house, starting to have that square to Saturn, can talk about a lot of you Aries being down to earth when it comes to your communications, to the way how you talk to other people and communicate with them. If you are in the sales industry, marketing, if you have a small business, then this can talk about the completion of a project. Maybe you get some type of spotlight, and receiving these positive aspects from Mars and from Jupiter during this full moon can talk about something positive that may be happening in this industry for you, that puts you in the spotlight, that brings some type of transformation, even promotion, even going to like the next level in your career and public reputation. The intense aspect of the day is a Mercury sitting in your 5th house in a square to Uranus, which Uranus is sitting in your 2nd house. And this can talk about nervousness and feeling anxious. And I feel like for a lot of us, this full moon is going to bring something very transformative, very important. And of course, with such intense energy, with also Pluto being involved here, we may feel very anxious. And that could be the case for a lot of you Aries with this square from Mercury to Uranus. You could feel anxious and a little fearful and scared about the future, but however, I do think that this closure is very important to happen for a lot of us. And back in December 2020, we saw these themes of people moving to different places and changing jobs and doing so for several years. And I feel like for a lot of us, this closure is going to happen so that we settle with something that we feel more satisfied with. And with Pluto being in conjunction to the full moon, remember to be very truthful to yourself, very authentic, because Pluto is not going to tolerate anything else. What do you want for your career? What do you want when it comes to your public reputation? This full moon is going to highlight that. This full moon is going to bring it to your attention in a very profound and intense way, to where you are going to understand that this is the direction that I want to make and that I want to take. And if you don't decide, then things are going to happen in a way that they may decide for you. So keep that in mind. But this is what I have for you Aries for this full moon in Capricorn. If you liked and resonated with this video, please remember to give it a like and to subscribe. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you could do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hello, dear Taurus suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction for the 12 zodiac signs. Taurus, on July 21st, we have that full moon at 29 degrees in the sign of Capricorn in your 9th house. And this can talk about closure, about completion when it comes to international affairs, when it comes to visas, applications, citizenships, green cards, things like that. This full moon in the 9th house can also talk about closure when it comes to applications to universities, to higher education institutions, getting a higher degree, getting a master's degree, bachelor's degree, things like that. There could be some type of completion, there could be a decision that is made. Maybe some of you will enter these universities, and for others of you will just graduate during this full moon. The 9th house is also the house of foreign travel. So if you have been trying to go to some country and you haven't been able to do so because of one reason or the other, then this full moon can bring a completion to where you know if you can go internationally or not. This full moon can also talk about being able to understand foreign languages and coming to some type of completion when it comes to that, maybe completing a course, maybe completing some type of study that you have been doing in a foreign language. Obviously, that's the case for a few of you, but could definitely be a scenario. And the 9th house is also the house of legal matters. So for a lot of you Tauruses, you may have and receive you may receive some type of completion, closure, ending when it comes to some type of legal matter. This full moon is in conjunction to Pluto, and it brings a lot of intensity, a lot of transformation. I feel like this full moon brings the ending of something, but in a way to where it transforms us to start a new beginning. So there's definitely a lot of transformation, a lot of intensity associated with this full moon. The full moon in itself is pretty intense. We know that it happens every month, but adding Pluto to it can talk about really feeling the changes and transformation of this full moon at the personal level, feeling it very deeply, and having some type of, again, intensity happening in our lives to where we might even feel a bit anxious. And I will talk about it here in a minute. But what I love about this full moon is that it's creating a positive aspect to Mars, which is sitting at 0 degrees in Gemini in your 2nd house. So for a lot of you Tauruses, you could use your self-worth and your self-confidence to complete something associated with your 9th house matters. Maybe you understand that you want to live in another country, you want to live somewhere else, and then this full moon is going to bring that into completion. And Mars in your 2nd house makes you feel that, okay, this is what I deserve, this is what I want. It gives you that extra drive, push, and determination to take this transformation, this change, this completion into your heart and to feel worthy of having it, because maybe you fought a lot for it, maybe it's been intense and you've worked really hard for it. And another important thing to mention with this full moon is that it's activating that great conjunction point we had back in December 2020. And for a lot of us Tauruses, we had massive changes happening back in December 2020. It did not happen on the day of the conjunction, but it eventually happened in the months to come. And from the news I've read and statistics, a lot of people moved during that time. A lot of people changed careers, changed jobs. They went from working in an office to working from home. Like, we had big transformations happening back then. But this full moon is going to bring something to completion with that activation we had back in December 2020. So keep that in mind, go back in time and think, what did you decide back then to do that could be reactivated during this full moon and could come into completion. Another important thing to mention is that this full moon is creating a positive aspect to Neptune in your 11th house. And for a lot of you Tauruses, you may feel very optimistic, driven, and excited when it comes to your long-term dreams and goals. This full moon could could be associated with something that you have been wanting to achieve in the long run. You have been hoping to achieve, for your future. It's something that's associated with your long-term dreams and goals. For others of you, maybe you receive support through a friend, and this full moon kind of highlights something in your international travels or maybe legal matters that somehow has some kind of connection to a friend, to a group of friends, or even social media. On this day, Venus, your ruler, is in your 4th house, and it's making positive aspects to Jupiter in your 2nd house, but also to the nodes that are sitting in your 6th and 12th houses. I absolutely love this. Venus is talking about a lot of you feeling very pleasant and happy at home, or kind of away from other people with that North Node in your 12th house. You're feeling very positive, very optimistic. Venus in your 4th house of emotions is bringing you hope and excitement for the future during this full moon. It could also be that a family member or some family members support you in something that is associated with this 9th house matters, with legal matters, again, higher education things, international travels, visas, citizenship, things like that. And Jupiter supporting from the 2nd house talks about having the monetary ability to have this completion done. And Saturn is starting to square Jupiter from your 11th, so there may still be some discomfort, some fear about the future, but you should be able to achieve whatever you're supposed to achieve with this full moon, financially wise. Another intense aspect of the day is Mercury sitting on your 4th house in a square to Uranus in your 1st house. This talks about that anxiety that I talked about in the beginning. With this intensity and big changes that could be happening with this full moon, or transformation that could be happening with this full moon, could bring some uncomfortable feelings, with Mercury sitting in your 4th house and with Uranus squaring it. You could feel uncomfortable and kind of fearful about the future, of course, also because you're Taurus and you don't like so many changes. But this can also talk about intense communications you are doing in your household. And maybe you are thinking about something in the future and you feel, there's kind of maybe some misunderstandings or disagreements, and there's some stress that comes out of it. However, I do think that this full moon is going to bring some important, massive transformations in your life. Definitely. But this is what I have for you, Taurus, for this full moon. Please let me know in the comments how things are going for you. And if you liked and resonated with this video, please remember to give it a like and to subscribe. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you could do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hello, dear Geminis, Gemini suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. Geminis, on July 21st, we have the full moon at 29 degrees. This is a blue moon. That's why we say once in a blue moon, because this happens quite rare. However, it is going to be an intense full moon. It's going to be an important one. For you, it's happening in your 8th house. So for a lot of you Geminis, I would say you may be receiving a massive transformation. The 8th house in itself is the house of transformation. This full moon in conjunction to Pluto talks about big transformation. And so I am excited for you. I feel like you are reinventing yourself with this full moon. You are coming to some type of completion of some hard work you may have been doing within yourself, within your life. in your surroundings that could bring this massive change, this massive transformation that could really change your life. I think this is going to be a very important full moon for a lot of you. The 8th house is also the house of shared resources. So for a lot of you Geminis, you may have some type of transformation change when it comes to your shared resources. Pluto is also the planet of death, so it could mean the metaphorical death of shared resources, to where you don't share your finances with somebody else anymore with this full moon. It kind of comes into completion and an ending associated with it. The 8th house is also the house of taxes, other people's money, stock market. So for a lot of you Geminis, you could be just receiving some money during this time through your investments, or just some type of investment comes into completion to where you sell. I can't say if it's going to be a win or not, because it depends on your personal chart. But for a lot of you, you may just close your investments during this full moon. It's important to mention that the full moon is happening at the great conjunction point we had back in December 2020. So go back in time and think, what did you decide back around December 2020? I'm saying decide, not do, because the doing could have come later. But what did you think about? What happened back in your life in December 2020 that could come now again into completion with this full moon that is happening here during this time. The full moon is creating a positive aspect to Mars sitting at 0 degrees in your sign. And I absolutely love this for you Geminis. You may be feeling very driven, very determined, and passionate about completing this thing in your life, about transforming yourself, transforming your life, or just dealing with something associated with your shared resources, or, with some type of investment that you have. The 8th house is also the house of the shadow side. So this full moon could highlight some fears and insecurities you may have within yourself. However, with this beautiful aspect created to Mars in your first house, can talk about you Geminis willing to transform this part of you, willing to face your fears, to face your insecurities, and make the necessary changes within yourself so that you can see the transformation again in the outer world, in your life. This full moon is also creating a positive aspect to Neptune sitting at 29 degrees in Pisces in your 10th house. For a lot of you, you may be feeling optimistic with this full moon related to your public status, your public reputation, and the future. You could be feeling very optimistic. You could look at the positive side of things, and you could even understand that this full moon, this completion, this ending should be happening so that you can have a more optimistic future, even associated with your career, your public reputation, but also about your status. This brings deep understanding with Pluto being here, but this positive aspect to Neptune talks about also optimism, looking at the brighter side of things, being positive, which I think is wonderful with such intense full moon. On this very day, Venus is in your 3rd house, making a positive aspect to Jupiter in your 1st house. And also it's making positive aspects to the nodes, which are sitting in your 5th and 11th. Geminis are generally wonderful with communication. With Venus being in your 3rd house, you're even more delightful to talk to. Venus here is bringing understanding to the way how you talk to other people, the way how you communicate with them, how you relate to them, but also in the way how you talk to yourself. And that's where I see that connection between this 3rd and 8th house during this full moon. For a lot of you, you may be talking very positively to yourself, trying to heal yourself, trying to come into good terms with some fears, insecurities, and shadow side within you. For others of you, you may just be communicating with other people and feeling very confident in doing so with Jupiter in your 1st house. Very confident, very optimistic in doing so when you talk to others during this full moon. And this can just bring something important in your life again with your transformation. With Venus and Jupiter being in such positive aspects with each other, I think this is just wonderful. In the way how you are going to communicate and feel about talking to other people. This can also talk about a lot of you making positive changes in your sales industry, if you are in one, if you are in marketing, if you have a small business, things like that, then This can talk about feeling optimistic, positive, making the necessary changes so that you can move forward in your industry and feel more positive and get more positive results out of it. The other intense aspect on this day is Mercury sitting on your 3rd house, in a square to Uranus in your 12th house, and Mercury rules you, and your 4th house. So this can talk about feeling a little anxious with all these transformations and changes that could be happening in your life, and I totally understand why. Full moons are very intense, generally speaking. Now couple that with Pluto, it's even deeper, it's even more intense. So it makes sense for a lot of us to feel restless and nervous. Or it could just be about taking some steps behind the scenes, some sudden steps behind the scenes, to be able to have this completion in your 8th house matters. For a lot of you, you may just be retreating from the world, even using spirituality, meditating, doing yoga, things like that, to calm your nervous system and to take, again, the necessary steps to have this type of completion in your 8th house. And if you're not taking steps, then there's definitely going to be some type of completion happening without even without your consent in your 8th house matters. So I think with Mercury being your ruler here, this is very important. It's going to bring some kind of restless energy in you, in your nervous system, but just be aware that when the 8th house is activated, it happens very deep within you, so it makes sense to feel a little uncomfortable with the changes and transformation that is happening in your life. This is what I have for you, Gemini, for this month. For this full moon in Capricorn. If you liked and resonated with this video, please remember to give it a like and to subscribe. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you could do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hello, dear Cancer suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. Cancers, this full moon is happening in your 7th house at 29 degrees. It could bring some important transformation in your partnerships into your life. It's happening on July 21st, and it's going to be conjunct Pluto. So expect some intense changes, transformation. I would say transformation is the key word associated with your partnerships, with your marriage, with your contracts and agreements. This is happening in your angular house, so this could affect you personally, your career and public reputation, but also your 4th house matters. Something in the life of a partner could happen during this full moon, could come to completion, that also affects you, or that you simply see that it brings a powerful and important transformation into your life. If you hear a voice in the background, I'm sorry. I'm recording this in the car. I said that in the intro too, because I barely get a minute by myself at home, so trying to be creative here. But going back to the full moon now. As I said, it's going to be conjunct Pluto, so expect some intensity. Full moons in general are pretty intense. They are very strong, they are very powerful, especially for you Cancers. That's why you're considered a bit more sensitive, because the moon, your ruler, is always involved in full moons. But now, in conjunction to Pluto, can talk about feeling these changes and transformation at the core level, deep within you, in your emotional world. For others of you Cancers, the moon here can talk about transformation in your inner self, in your personality, in who you are, deep transformation. And you could either come into power with this full moon. Now, this can take another meaning to where your 4th house and 10th house are also activated. You could feel transformation in your home environment with your family members, but also in your career, in your public reputation, and how other people see you. Again, this full moon could also bring some important closure to your partner's life that somehow affects you. They could come into power also, maybe some career change, maybe some career completion could happen for them, or anything else could happen to a partner that also affects you and your life. The 7th house is again the house of agreements and contracts, and this full moon can bring completion, can bring closure associated with some type of agreement, some type of contract that you have. What I absolutely love about this full moon is the positive aspect it's making to Mars, sitting at 0 degrees in Gemini in your 12th house. You may be doing a lot of things behind the scenes, Cancers. You may be retreating from the world and experiencing all these changes, this transformation, kind of hidden from the public eye, kind of, isolated. And it doesn't have to mean that you're by yourself. It just means that it could be with your family, it could be happening with a partner, but hidden from the public eye and away from other people. I do see a lot of drive and determination with Mars being in Gemini in your 12th house. You could feel very determined. You could be doing things behind the scenes that could bring something into completion associated with your 7th house matters. Another important aspect this full moon is making is the positive one with Neptune in Pisces in your 9th house. So for a lot of you Cancers, this could take legal notation, like there is maybe some type of contract against some type of agreement that comes into completion. It could happen to you, it could happen to your partner. This can be some type of completion with higher education institutions, where you get your bachelor's, master's degrees, that you're feeling very optimistic, you're feeling like you could achieve something further with the closure that this full moon is bringing. Again, this could be for you, this could be for your partner, in your partner's life. With Neptune in the 9th house, can talk about optimism, feeling excited about the future, looking at the positive side of things, and even receiving support from some type of mentor, so from some type of counselor in your life that counsels you and gives you the right advice associated with the closures and completions that are happening in your 7th house matters. What's important to mention is that this full moon is reactivating that great conjunction point we had back in December 2020. Look back in time and think, what happened in your life back then? What changes did you make in your life? What did you decide to make around the time? It doesn't have to be on the day of the conjunction, it doesn't have to be exactly in December, but it could have been a few months later. But however, that great conjunction activated something very important in your life during that time, and this full moon can bring that into completion, can bring some type of closure, some type of culmination, some type of spotlight associated with it. On the day of the full moon, Venus in your 2nd house, it's making positive aspects to Jupiter in your 12th house. As I mentioned, Cancers, for a lot of you, you are retreating from your world and spending time by yourself, or going on vacations and things like that. With Venus being in your 2nd house, can talk about financially being able to do so, feeling hopeful about the future with Jupiter in the 12th house, feeling optimistic, having that self-confidence to be able to make this transformation or complete this important transformation in your life. You can talk about having the right assets, and also receiving support, especially from family members, because this Venus is also making positive aspects to the nodes that are sitting in your 4th and 10th houses, but also because Venus rules your 4th house. So a family member could be supporting you, especially financially during this time, to be able to have some kind of retreat, or to just have this transformation associated with the full moon, with your 7th house matters. An intense aspect on this day is Mercury sitting on your 2nd house in a square to Uranus in your 11th house. some type of long-term dream and goal that you have for the future is not leaving you alone. You really want to achieve that with Uranus sitting in your 11th house. And so this Mercury could bring some type of anxiety, some kind of restlessness during this full moon. And it makes sense because, as I said, full moons are intense, and Pluto adds to that intensity. So it makes sense to feel like that. But it could be associated with financial matters. So you may be a little worried about finances during this full moon, Cancers, and especially associated with a long-term dream and goal. Maybe the money that you're making, the money that you want to be making does not align with your goals, with your long-term dreams that you have. And for others of you, it could be that some friend or group of friends bring some stress to you associated with finances. Maybe they want to go on an expensive a trip, and you don't have the financial means to do so. So you have that conflict going on. The other thing that could be happening during this full moon with this square between Mercury and Uranus can talk about social media, feeling or not feeling confident enough to post something. Maybe some of you post something or feel confident enough to post it, but it takes other people by surprise and they don't really like it. I feel like that's very specific for a few of you, but definitely could be the case with this full moon. I definitely went overtime with you, Cancers. This is what I have for you for this full moon. Please let me know how things are going for you. I myself, I'm having crazy transformation in my life, but I feel like I've gotten used to that. Please let me know if you have the same things going on. But if you liked and resonated with this video, please remember to give it a like and to subscribe. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you could do so through my website, taking you to thestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hello, dear Leo suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. Leos, on July 21st, we have the full moon at 29 degrees in Capricorn. This is a very important full moon because it's happening in conjunction to Pluto. Full moons in general are very intense. We all know that they happen every month. But couple that with Pluto, this talks about crazy intensity. For a lot of you Leos, you could feel the changes this full moon or the transformation this full moon is bringing into your life at the core level. And this is going to happen for many of us, for most of us. This is happening in your 6th house. So I feel like you are having some type of completion, some type of ending associated with your health, with your physical health. Hopefully, I really hope for a lot of you Leos, this talks about ending some type of sickness, getting done with it, you're healed, you are transformed. And Pluto being here talks about regeneration. It talks about shedding a skin, being revived, being alive again after something difficult. So if you have been dealing with a sickness, then this full moon can talk about coming into completion with it and just ending with it, being healed, being transformed, being regenerated. I really hope that happens for, some of you Leos that could be dealing with that. For others of you, the full moon can talk about completion when it comes to your daily routines. Maybe something happens in your life that you don't have to do so many things in your day-to-day life. You don't have to run the same errands. You don't have to go through the same route when you go to work. Something could be changing, coming to completion, coming to ending. You complete something in your day-to-day life that you don't have to do it anymore. It's transformed, it's changed, and you just have maybe to approach to it in a different way, but something definitely comes into completion. The 6th house is also the house of day-to-day job. So for a lot of you, dear Leos, this talks about completion of a project, a transformation to where maybe you completed some type of project, now it's transformed into a bigger responsibility, or into a different responsibility. This may talk about change of career, change of job for a lot of you Leos, completion, ending, leaving some type of job, transforming yourself into getting a new one. But with the full moon during this time talks about completion, talks about ending, maybe quitting, maybe leaving some place. What I absolutely love about this full moon is the positive aspect is doing to Mars sitting at 0 degrees in Gemini in your 11th house. This full moon could be tied to your long-term dreams and goals. It talks about completing something that is associated with your long-term dreams and goals. You may be having something in your mind that this full moon could accomplish, again associated with something you've been wanting to achieve in the long run. This may talk about friends really actively helping you complete the 6th house matters things. A friend, a group of friends, they are supporting you, they're feeling very driven and excited to really help you. They are feeling motivated is the right word, to help you. And it could also be that you yourself are feeling very motivated with this closure, with this ending in your 6th house, but again that's associated with completing something in the long run, looking at the goal that you have in your future and achieving something now with this full moon. The other positive aspect this full moon is making is to Neptune in your 8th house. A lot of you Leos are feeling optimistic, excited about the future. You're feeling optimistic when it comes to facing your fears. You're understanding that they are just fears, they're just bothering you, and you just decide to take the positive side and leave them aside and accept this transformation, this change that could be happening in your life with this full moon. I do want to mention that this full moon is reactivating that great conjunction we had back in 2020, in December 2020. Look back in time. If you had something important going on in your life back then, if you made an important decision back then this full moon could bring it to a closure, to an ending. So keep that in mind. On the same day, Venus in your 1st house is making positive aspects to Jupiter in your 11th house. I absolutely love this. Venus in your 1st house is making you look amazing, beautiful, sexy, attractive. People want to talk to you. Or at least you could be feeling, very self-confident and happy to express yourself to the world. Okay, so Jupiter creating this positive aspect from your 11th house can talk about a lot of you Leos being accepted during this time from your friends, people that know you, social media groups, your acquaintances, and I absolutely love this. This is a wonderful aspect to have two benefics connected to each other during this full moon. Talks about help from friends, acquaintances, again. People that know you, and they're helping you build the self-esteem, the self-confidence to have the right transformation in your life that is happening in your 6th house matters. The intense aspect on this day is Mercury sitting in your 1st house in a square to Uranus in your 10th house. With the intensity the full moon is bringing with Pluto, brings also some restlessness when it comes to your inner world, okay, with your thinking, and maybe some not feeling very comfortable with certain changes that could be happening with Mercury in your 1st house, the planet of thoughts, the planet of the head, the planet of thinking, not the planet of the head, but the planet of thinking. And you could feel restless, you could feel a bit anxious about your career, your public reputation, your future. The 6th house is that house of your job again, so some type of completion in your job, in your projects, in your career. Maybe you're changing your career, could bring some restlessness, radical changes in your career and public reputation for some of you Leos. You could change careers again with this full moon. And for others of you, this may just be talking about you feeling not very comfortable with these changes, but they are necessary with this full moon. Again, this is a blue moon. It's very important for you, for all of us, to be happening at this time. So whatever happens, don't stress, don't be afraid from it, but embrace it, because it is supposed to happen the way it's happening. And with Neptune in your 8th house, remember to embrace positivity and looking at the positive side of things, with this beautiful aspect the full moon is making to Neptune. This is what I have for you, Leos, for this full moon. I really hope things are going well for you. Please let me know in the comments. I always read them. If you like and resonate with this video, however, remember to give it a like and to subscribe and just share it with other people that need to listen to this. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you can do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hello, dear Virgos, Virgo suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. This full moon, Virgos, is happening on July 21st in your 5th house at 29 degrees. This can talk about completion when it comes to your creativity projects and artistic skills. This is happening in conjunction to Pluto, so it could feel quite intense in nature. Full moons in itself are intense, but couple that with Pluto, it can talk about really diving deep into our emotions and feeling something very intensely, very deeply with this full moon. But for you, this could be associated with your children also, if you have children. Maybe you are having some type of completion with a child, some type of agreement, something that you come into the same terms with one of your children or all of your children. If you are in romance, like if you have been flirting with somebody and going on dates, then this full moon can talk about a completion associated with it, to where you decide if you're going to part ways or if you're going to take it to the next level. And again, you could feel very intense, okay? For some of you, you may feel very intensively for this person. Again, if you are flirting with someone, or if you're looking to date someone. The 5th house is also the house of gambling, so this can talk about having some type of completion associated with that if you are in that industry. For some astrologers, this house is also the house of the stock market, so you could have some kind of completion. I can't say if you're winning or not, that depends on your personal chart, but you may decide to just end something associated with these things. And obviously you have to consult again your personal chart with these things. But the other thing that I want to talk about is maybe obsession could be removed associated with gambling during this full moon. You come to completion, you understand that it's not serving you anymore, and you are deeply working within yourself with the intensity Pluto gives to remove that from your life. And for others of you, one of your children could have some important closure and transformation during this full moon that is very important to their life, and it somehow affects you and you feel it into yours also. What I absolutely love about this full moon is the positive aspect it's making to Mars, sitting at 0 degrees in Gemini in your 10th house. Something happening, some completion happening in your 5th house matters, affects your public status maybe. Or you could feel very driven to change your career and public reputation with this full moon that's happening in your 5th house. You could be determined to maybe use your creative abilities that you have to make that necessary change in your 10th house. It could also be that you use your status, you use kind of your name and who you're known to the world to have some type of completion in your 5th house matters. The other positive aspect this moon is making is to Neptune in your 7th house, which talks about a partner being very optimistic, very supportive about this completion that you're having in your 5th house matters. It can talk about you feeling very optimistic, very hopeful to be able to have this completion. Now, if you have some type of creative project going on with a partner, then this person is supporting you and giving you that drive, that excitement, and telling you, hey, it's going to turn out to be good. It's going to transform in a positive way. So you are receiving some type of positive outlook from a partner, positive support from them during this full moon. On this day, Venus is in your 12th house, and it's making a positive aspect to Jupiter in your 10th house. Now, having two benefics be in a positive aspect to each other, it's wonderful. It's just great. I don't know if we are going to feel this beautiful energy, because the full moon could be very intense, but there is something positive, very positive happening here. And Venus being in your 12th house, Venus rules your 2nd and 9th houses, can talk about a lot of you Virgos being focused kind of behind the scenes to increase your income, and Jupiter in your 10th supports you with that. You could be working hard to increase your streams of income and maybe getting some promotion and things like that, and you're receiving support from maybe an authority figure during this full moon, maybe from somebody that is at your work, at your job, that is like a mentor to you, somebody that's important to your life. You may be receiving some wonderful support and advice from them. This can also talk about using spirituality to be more hopeful about your career, public reputation, and how other people see you during the full moon. The intense aspect on this day is Mercury creating a tense aspect to Uranus. Mercury sitting in your 12th, creating a square to Uranus in your 9th house. There could be some legal matters some of you Virgos have to also deal with at the same time of this full moon. It could be associated with long-term dreams and long distance travel. It could be with international travels, with foreign languages. For some of you, you may just have to focus on these things, and you may have some kind of feeling uncomfortable with something associated with your 9th house matters. However, whatever you're feeling, you're kind of keeping it to yourself. You're not showing it to other people. You're not showing their nervousness and worry that you may have during this time. You're kind of hiding it behind the scenes, especially Mercury being your ruler, sitting in the 12th house during this time. However, this transformation that is happening in your 5th house matters could definitely bring some restlessness within you, for all of us actually, with very massive transformation and intensity with Pluto being activated, okay, with this full moon. Very important things. But this is what I have for you, Virgos. Please let me know in the comments how things are going for you. Let me know if this resonates. And if it does, please remember to show some support, give it a like, subscribe, and share it with people that really need to listen to this. If you're going to make somebody's heart lighter by listening to this and helping them understand that things happen because they're supposed to happen like that, that would make my day. That would make me very happy. But other than that, I will see you on the next video. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you could do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hello, dear Libras, Libra suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. Libras, on July 21st, we have a full moon in your 4th house at 29 degrees. This is an important full moon as it's happening at a critical degree, and for you, it's happening in an angular house, which talks about massive changes, massive endings, I would say, associated with maybe family members, real estate, but also this can activate your career and public reputation and how other people see you, your identity, who you are as a person, but also your partnerships, your collaborations with other people. This full moon is in conjunction to Pluto, and so it can talk about intensity, and happening in the 4th house, which is also the house of emotions. I feel like for a lot of you Libras, this is going to be a very intense full moon, and Another reason is that the 29 degree is a karmic degree, is the last degree of Capricorn, talks about massive, massive endings, important endings that are associated in your life. And again, this can be tied to some type of real estate. Maybe you are relocating, you're changing apartments, houses, country, cities. There's some important decision that's happening here for a lot of you. And there is also transformation associated with this, with Pluto being activated here, with Pluto being involved in this blue moon. It's a blue moon, actually. It happens every around 3 years, so it's rare in a way, but very important decisions are coming your way, Libras. What I like about this full moon is that it's receiving a positive aspect from Mars, which is also sitting at a karmic degree in the sign of Gemini in your 9th house. So again, Mars here sitting at 0 degrees talks about added intensity. There is something karmic going on, something that is supposed to happen for a lot of you Libras. But with Mars creating this positive aspect from your 9th house can talk about having a mentor, having somebody that really pushes you, inspires you to make this important change associated with your home life, with your family, parents, anybody you live with, again, real estate, but also just moving in and out with people, changing locations, or it could just be at the emotional level. For a lot of you, you may just experience this important, profound transformation when it comes to your inner emotional world. The other positive aspect is coming from Neptune from your 6th house, and this can talk about feeling optimistic, feeling feeling positive about this completion, this ending, especially because there could be something in your day-to-day life that brings you that kind of optimism. You may be feeling like, you know, you can definitely do this, and again, it's intense in nature. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but it's very important for you to be able to do so. And Neptune here in your 6th house can talk about feeling optimistic and positive in running errands and doing the necessary things on your daily basis to be able to have this kind of completion in your area of your life. Venus, your ruler, is in your 11th house at this time. It's creating a positive aspect to Jupiter in your 9th house. And I absolutely love this. It's also creating positive aspects to the nodes, which are sitting in your 1st and 7th house. So for a lot of you, this during this full moon, you may feel like something associated with your long-term dream and goal could be accomplished, could take you in the direction to accomplish this thing that you have been wanting to achieve in a long time. This may also talk about support you're receiving from friends, acquaintances, people that know you, but also social media, you know, if you are in that kind of industry. Jupiter in the 9th house can talk about having some kind of acceptance when it comes to legal matters. You know, things could run a bit more smooth with these things. And if you plan to relocate internationally, which I can see a lot of Libras doing, then Jupiter in your 9th house could give that support, could give that push that you may need at this time to accomplish this. Venus also rules your 8th house, and creating that positive aspect again with Jupiter can talk about a lot of you doing the inner work to kind of remove fears and self-sabotaging patterns associated with some kind of transformation, completion that you want to be achieving in your life. Mercury is sitting in your 11th house, creating a square to Uranus in your 8th house. So for a lot of you Libras, you may feel a little unsettled, a little worried about all these changes that could be happening in your life, these completions. And I'm going to say that although the full moon is on July 21st, you may be feeling the changes associated with decision in the next like 3-4 months. And that's because Pluto is going to transit again this 29 degree as it's going back to Capricorn briefly. So the consequences or the results of this decision, of this ending, could last for a little bit. You could see them, you could see some similar themes for the next 3 to 4 months. I do want to mention that This full moon is also reactivating that great conjunction we had back in December 2020. So if you had some major decision made back then, you might see the same themes or some type of completion and ending associated with that. And for you, could be again with your real estate, relocating, moving in and out with people, maybe having a new baby, maybe adding more members to your family dynamics, or if you had parents moving in or out, you could see kind of the same things, themes again. But at this time, it's happening at a completion, and it's important to know that this could be something very profound, very transformational for you because of the angular house. It can trigger the way how other people view you, your status. If you have a family, especially if you are in a marriage, it can bring transformation and changes to your partnership and your identity, who you are as a person. And for some of you Libras, if living with some people did not work for you, you felt taken advantage of, especially with Pluto being here. If you had some power struggles going on, then this full moon is going to end a few things that are not working for you. But this is what I have for you, Libras. Please let me know in the comments how things are going for you. Are you feeling already the intensity of this full moon? And if you resonated with this video, please remember to give it a like, to subscribe, and share it with the people that really need to listen to this. I will see you on the next video. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you could do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hello, dear Scorpio, Scorpio suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. Scorpios, we have a full moon happening on July 21st in your third house at 29 degrees, and it's happening in an earth sign, which positively aspects you, especially if you have any points in the last degrees of your sign of Scorpio. This full moon, though, is quite intense, and it's going to feel intense for a lot of you because Pluto, your ruler, is being activated, is part of this full moon. It's happening at a 29 degree, it's a critical degree, and it definitely means karmic endings associated with third house matters for a lot of you Scorpios. If you are in the sales, marketing, publishing, writing industries, anything that's associated with communications, then this can talk about a completion, an ending of some type of project, getting the fruits out of it, and just having some massive important ending, which can bring a lot of transformation. Pluto is also about transformation, and for you, you might feel it, at the core level. You might really feel it in your life, again, with Pluto being activated here. For others of you Scorpios, this full moon can talk about ending some type of toxic communication you've had with somebody. If you have been manipulative to someone, or if they have been towards you, then something intense could happen. Very intensive communication could happen at this time during this full moon that is going to bring massive changes, massive endings, I would say. Again, this is the 29 degree, and it's quite intense. It's karmic in nature. It's the last degree of Capricorn. However, I don't want to scare you. This full moon is receiving positive aspects from Mars, which is your ancient ruler, which is sitting at 0 degrees in Gemini in your 8th house. Mars is also sitting at a critical degree, so again, we have some karmic things going on, but this may talk about also endings, massive endings, and transformation within your thinking process. The 8th house is the house of self-sabotaging patterns, of fears, insecurities. So for a lot of you Scorpios, you may feel that determination, that push and extra drive to have massive endings when it comes to the way you've been talking to yourself and thinking negatively and things like that. This full moon could have you dive deep in your subconscious level to try to heal from these things and move on from them and really, really end them. This can also talk about a family member really helping you financially, through shared resources that you may have with them, to be able to have some kind of completion, maybe in selling something, maybe in marketing, writing, publishing something with other people, with Mars being in that 8th house of shared resources. The other positive aspect this full moon is receiving is from Neptune, which is also sitting at a critical degree. That's why I feel like this is going to be a very intense full moon, but with important endings. But Neptune for you is sitting in your 5th house, which talks about feeling creative, you're using creativity, and kind of feeling optimistic about this ending. It could feel intense. It could feel like, it has to happen. You have to make this kind of ending happen. However, you may feel very optimistic about your future, about how your life could transform and could be. And Neptune in the 5th house of fun and entertainment could really be that for a lot of you Scorpios. You feel like you're going to enjoy life a bit more after this completion is done. It kind of makes sense for a lot of you to have this type of ending with Neptune being here. Neptune helps in having that positive outlook and looking more in the good side of things. On this day, Venus is in your 10th house, and it's making a positive aspect to Jupiter in your 8th house, and communication between two benefic planets is just wonderful. But Venus in your 10th house talks about you feeling or being very easy to talk to when it comes to your career, when it comes to how other people see you. You could be very approachable, and with Jupiter sitting in your 8th house can talk about self-sabotaging patterns that are now under control, that you need to address them. You may be addressing something that you feel like is not serving within you anymore, again with this activation of the 8th house. Venus in your 10th, though, is also making positive aspects to the nodes, which are sitting in your 6th and 12th houses. And this talks about some maybe authority figure that is helping, is supporting you in your daily life. It could be somebody in your career, it could be somebody just important in your personal life that is helping you, that is counseling you, advising you, supporting you emotionally to be able to make this transformation and this ending in your life. It could also be that this is a partner, with Venus being your 7th house ruler. Maybe your partner is really understanding your inner world, understanding how things are going for you, and is helping you out, overcome something and kind of end something important during this time. Mercury is sitting in your 10th house in a square to Uranus, though, so you may feel restless about these important things, these decisions. You may have some type of communication with a partner associated with your career, public reputation, some changes that you want to make in that, something you've been thinking about that maybe does not sit well with a partner. Or it could be that you need to make this critical agreement, contract, collaboration with somebody else, and you have some kind of intensity and restlessness associated with it, to where you have to think about details and have your mind going on steroids, thinking about this. But I feel like this full moon is very important. I do want to mention that it's reactivating that great conjunction we had in 2020. So look back at the time. If you made a major decision in your life back then this full moon could bring some themes associated with it. I do also want to mention that Pluto, your ruler, is also going to reactivate this full moon in the next 3 to 4 months as it travels back to Capricorn at the 29 degrees. So whatever important ending you are deciding to have and is showing up in your life during this time, you may see the effects and themes of it for about 3 months or a bit more, but it's something that is necessary for your life during this time. This is what I have for you, Scorpios. Please let me know in the comments how things are going for you. Please share this video with people that you think could be helpful too, and if you liked and resonated with this one, please remember to give it a like and to subscribe. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you could do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hello, dear Sagittarius suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. Sagittarius, on July 21st, we have a full moon in your second house at 29 degrees. The full moon talks about some important completion associated with your finances, with your income, with your personal income, with streams of income, but also your self-worth, your possessions, and also food. This is the house that is associated with the things that we eat. So this full moon brings some intense endings and completions, maybe associated with all these things. It is conjunct Pluto, so it adds more to this intensity. You may feel some changes at the core level. There could also be some power struggles, maybe with an authority figure associated, with your income, with your money. If you have multiple streams of income, then it could be that this full moon brings the ending of one of them or several of them. The full moon is happening at a degree that reactivates that great conjunction we had back in December 2020. So look back in time, see what happened in your life. What did you decide to do? What major thing happened that made you take a different route in your life? Because this full moon could bring similar themes associated with the same thing. This full moon, though, is receiving positive aspects from Mars, which is also sitting at a critical degree, at 0 degrees in Gemini, in your 7th house. So it could really be that a partner really supports you, feels determined and passionate to actually help you overcome the situation and have this ending in your life. For some reason, this ending is really important to happen for a lot of you Sagittariuses. This full moon is also receiving a positive aspect from Neptune, which is sitting in your 4th house. And this can bring optimism and feeling like this fated ending, because it's fated, it's karmic in nature. That's the 29 degree. But this fated ending could bring something positive into your life. Maybe you feel better at the emotional level. It could be that a lot of your Sagittarius maybe are overworked, so you decide to cut out something from your life that was burning you out, and with Neptune here in the 4th house, it could be that you feel more optimistic about it. The 4th house is the house of emotions, after all. In another aspect, it could be that family members really support you, give you a push, help you stay on the positive side, say the right words to you to where you feel optimistic despite this big ending happening. I do want to say again and emphasize that it could be intense. However, it's a necessary ending. It's a karmic one. It's a fated one. On this day, Venus will be in your 9th house, and it's making a positive aspect to Jupiter in your 7th house. It's also making positive aspects to the nodes sitting in your 5th and 11th houses, which is very good, which is wonderful. Venus in the 9th house can talk about a lot of you learning about your things or new things about your job, maybe learning new things about your physical health, your daily routines, because Venus rules your 6th house, and the 9th house where it's sitting on is the house of learning, of higher knowledge. It could be that some of you are addressing maybe legal matters associated with your 6th house matters, or it could be that you are receiving support again from a partner, with Jupiter being in the 7th house. Any changes, any transformation that you need to make in your income, in your resources, it's being supported by somebody else. Somebody is just willing to help you. And if you don't have a partner, then it can be some kind of contract and agreement that you have could be supporting you into achieving this kind of transformation, this kind of profound completion and change associated with your resources, with your income. As I mentioned earlier, the 2nd house where the full moon is happening is also the house of self-confidence. So for a lot of you, you may be coming into agreement that you are worth something. You may have this profound, deep experience within yourself, deep feeling, intense feeling associated with your self-worth and who you are as a person. You may even decide to have some profound transformation also, again, with Pluto being the planet of transformation. But I absolutely love the aspect between Venus and Jupiter on this day. Two benefics coming together in a positive aspect talks about, again, a partner could be helping you out, giving you support, maybe a mentor, a guru. You could have some good things associated with international travel, international relocation, visa, citizenships, things like that, that you could achieve or you could do through a partner that is supporting you. We do have another intense aspect besides the moon being intense in itself, and that is Mercury sitting in your 9th house in a square to Uranus in your 6th house. I do feel like you have some activation going on with your 6th house, associated again with your physical health, with your daily routines and your day-to-day job. Maybe some belief system is being challenged here. Maybe you are learning new things that you need to be changing associated with the things that you eat, with your food. You have to make some profound transformation associated with that. Something could happen that steers you in a different direction when it comes to these things. It could also be that you have a mentor, somebody that could criticize you at this time, and maybe you don't take it that well, but this person could be teaching you again about your physical health, your day-to-day job. Maybe it could be an authority figure, but that serves that kind of a mentor for you. Or it could be about your daily routines. Maybe you realize that you have to do way more than you think, or you have to change the way how you go about your day-to-day life. This is kind of the energy on this day, Sagittarius. I really hope and wish the best for you. Please let me know in the comments how things are going for you, and if you like and resonated with this video, please remember to give it a like and to subscribe. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you can do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hello, dear Capricorns, Capricorn suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon astrology prediction that is happening in your sign. This is very important for you, Capricorns. It's happening on July 21st at the 29 degrees. So if you have any planets, major points around this degree, from 26 to 29 degrees Capricorn, this is going to be very important for you. This full moon is happening at an angular house. So it's happening in your 1st house, but it's activating your 7th, your 4th, your 10th. So for a lot of you, you may be experiencing massive endings during this time, Capricorns. Some important endings that can be a bit karmic in nature, a bit fated in nature, with a 29 degree being involved here, which is a critical degree, is the last degree of your sign. So definitely a lot of endings, or one big major ending. It depends on your personal chart. But what's important here is that this full moon is in conjunction to Pluto, which talks about intensity. Full moons in general, they're quite intense. They are very emotional sometimes, but with Pluto being activated during this time, talks about added transformation and feeling things at the emotional level, feeling them very dearly, very deeply within yourself. Something very important is ending when it comes to your identity, Capricorns. You are shedding some skin. You are shedding and removing some old version of yourself that you feel like is not serving you anymore. And you are reinventing and transforming yourself in a massive way during this full moon. You are completing things and Pluto, again, being the planet of transformation, this talks about some massive change and, of course, a new beginning, you know, that you are going to be feeling on the next new moon. But what I love about this full moon is that it's being positively aspected by Mars, which is also sitting at a critical degree at 0 degrees in Gemini in your 6th house. So for a lot of you Capricorns, there could be some daily routine, or better said, you could feel very driven, very pushed and determined on a daily basis, doing your daily routines to be able to have this massive transformation in your life, in your identity and who you are as a person. You may also feel driven to change your diet and your workout routine, to transform your physical body, to maybe end a way that you have been feeding yourself, to be able to transform and move into something more healthy and better for you. This could also be about maybe changing careers for some of you, because with Mars in the 6th house, it can talk about you realizing that some job could maybe not be doing well to your physical body, and you feel very driven, determined to just end this career, this job for yourself, and start afresh, start with a new identity and a different person as you are, you know, in yourself, and how you want to be known into the world, and how other people view you and see you. And again, we have, you know, different houses being activated. This could bring transformation to your home environment, to your family members, to your career, again, your public reputation, but also to your partnerships and relationships. This full moon is also receiving a positive aspect from Neptune, which is also sitting at a critical degree. That's why I feel like this full moon is very fated in nature. It's very important to happen. But Neptune in the 3rd house talks about a lot of you Capricorns feeling hopeful and optimistic about this massive ending in your life, feeling optimistic and thinking that, you know, this is the right thing and this is how things should be happening during this time, because the 3rd house is the house of our thought process and how we talk to ourselves. This can also talk about some communication with somebody that feels hopeful and pleasant in nature, with Neptune being involved here. On this day, Venus is sitting in your 8th house, and it's also making positive aspects to Jupiter in your 6th house, but also to the North nodes, which are sitting in the 4th and 10th houses for you. This talks about a lot of you Capricorns healing and treating, quote-unquote, your self-sabotaging patterns, the way how you talk to yourself, to kind of be more optimistic and more hopeful about the future. This may also talk about having important transformation when it comes to your career and public reputation, because the Venus also rules your 10th house, and sitting in the 8th house of transformation talks about, you know, having some changes going on in your career and how other people view you. And Jupiter sitting in the 6th house can talk about maybe co-workers supporting you, people that you work with supporting you, or just having a daily routine that supports your goals associated with some type of important transformation that you need to be making when it comes to your identity during this full moon. Some of you may be just using your creativity and artistic abilities to release some shadow side of yourself and to kind of shed off this skin that you need to do to have this kind of completion in your person, you know, in your identity and who you are. That's because Venus rules your 5th house, and sitting in the 8th house talks about, you know, taking a different approach, using your creativity and artistic ability to just let out some negative patterns that you may have had within yourself. We have an intense aspect going on this day also, with Mercury sitting on your 8th house in a square to Uranus in your 5th house. For a lot of you, you may just have some unsettled communication with a child, with your children if you have some. It could be tied to some insecurities you may have within yourself, or it could be some type of communication that triggers some type of fear or insecurity. So be aware of that. It can also be some communication with a romantic partner, somebody that you are going on dates with, that you're flirting with. Maybe they trigger something within you and it irritates some of you. Obviously there's a case for just a few of you, but it's definitely as a scenario with this aspect. With this square, it can also be some type of irritated communication associated with shared finances and resources. maybe with a job also, with Mercury being your 6th house ruler, to where maybe you don't have financial resources to accomplish something, to do something, and some creative ability, you know, and some artistic ability, something for fun, even to just entertain and go somewhere to enjoy your day. There could be some financial reason why you can get irritated with this square happening between Mercury and Uranus. Obviously, we can go on and talk for a long time about this aspect, but I will just keep it at that. This is what I have for you, Capricorn, for this full moon. It's very important for you. I wish you all the best. Please let me know in the comments how things are going for you, and share this video with the people that you think could really serve for them. Other than that, as just with any other video, if you resonated with this one, please remember to give it a like and to subscribe. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you could do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, you know, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hello, dear Aquarius, Aquarius suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. Aquarius says the full moon is happening at 29 degrees in your 12th house, which is pretty close to your 1st house. So for a lot of you Aquariuses, this really talks about massive endings. The 29 degree is a critical degree. It's a degree that talks about karma, talks about fated endings, fated events. The full moon in general symbolizes completion, and so these two details together really talk about something ending in your life. And when you think about it, the 29 degree of Capricorn is really the last degree of your entire chart, being an Aquarius rising. And so this is very important. Something can come to culmination, to an ending, and it's necessary for you. It's so important for you to have this kind of ending. I will say that it might be a bit intense. Not a bit, but quite intense, because Pluto is being activated here. There could be power struggles associated with this full moon, or just a spotlight into somebody or a person, or just a mental blockage that you may have had for some time that could be highlighted with this full moon. And so it can feel quite intense in nature, with Pluto being the planet of intensity and of depth. This talks about endings when it comes to some type of spiritual belief that you may have had. It can be the ending of some type of isolation that you may have had if you live in foreign lands, if you live just separately from your family and things like that, where you feel somehow isolated. Then this full moon can really bring an end to it. I do want to mention that Pluto is going to touch this point again in the next 3 months, as it moves into the 29 degree of Capricorn, as it's moving retrograde. So the themes of this full moon might be felt in the next 3 to 4 months. Also, keep that in mind. However, something is coming in full completion. This is a completed cycle, and it's especially important for you, Aquarius, given that this is literally the last degree of your entire chart. Massive endings. However, with Pluto, again, there's transformation happening. If there's an ending, there's a new beginning. So this full moon is giving you the opportunity to end something toxic, something that maybe was not good for you mentally, closing some cycle in your life to where you can start and transform in a new way. What I like about this full moon is that it's receiving a positive aspect from Mars. Mars is sitting at 0 degrees in Gemini in your 5th house, and it is sitting at a critical degree also. The 0 degree is also a fated karmic degree. So again, you may use creativity and maybe some artistic ability to have some type of closure in your 12th house matters. You may even have some closing with a child, with your children, or maybe with somebody romantically, you may feel very driven to do so. Now, for others of you Aquariuses, it could be that a child really helps you emotionally and in different ways for you to have this kind of completion and ending in your life. It could be that the romantic partner inspires you to have some kind of ending again in your 12th house matters. And the 12th house is again the house of spirituality, of isolation, of foreign lands, dealing with foreign people. This could be all closures associated with that, with those things. This full moon is also receiving a positive aspect from Neptune in your 2nd house. And Neptune here is giving optimism and positivity. Again, Neptune is also sitting at a karmic degree at 29 degrees, so that's why I say this full moon is very important for you Aquariuses. But this talks about optimism, especially associated with your self-worth, with your self-confidence, how you see yourself. And for others of you, it can just be associated with maybe some type of financial situation. Maybe you have the optimism to have this ending down because you think you have the right financial means and the sufficient financial means to do so. On this day, Venus in your 7th house is making a positive aspect to Jupiter in your 5th house. You could have a partner that sees all these things and supports you. Venus in the 7th house can talk about good understanding, the opposite of misunderstanding. So actually understanding and coming to agreement with a partner that supports you in these things. Jupiter in your 5th house is asking for expansion in your creative and artistic abilities, in expressing yourself the way you are, to your friends, to the world, to the people around you. And these two houses connecting together talk about a lot of you Aquarius embracing your self-identity, embracing yourself in the way you are, being more authentic about yourself. And Pluto transiting your 1st house, starting to do so, we were just at the beginning of it, will really ask you to be truthful and authentic. And the activation of this house is just, really talks about that. Venus rules your 4th house also, so it could be that a family member supports you. A family member could turn into a partner, like a business partner, or somebody that comes in handy and really helps you in some type of closure that you are experiencing in your life. Venus also rules your 9th house, so it could be that some legal matter, some type of agreement that you're entering or ending during this time could really be tied to this big closure into your life with this full moon. The other intense aspect we have on this day, besides the full moon in itself, is Mercury sitting on your 7th house in a square to Uranus in your 4th house. So again, there's this activation between your partnership and your family members. You may have some disagreement when it comes to a partner, when it comes to real estate matters, when it comes to your household, moving in, moving out, changing places maybe. Or it could be that you have some kind of emotional dissatisfaction with them, and this square here brings some tension, some need to explode and express yourself freely. Uranus is your ruler, so it could be that you may be the one exploding and you're expressing yourself freely. And it really can be tied again to some kind of creative ability, some kind of artistic ability that you want to pursue, given that Mercury rules your 5th house. Or it could even be it can be about shared finances, shared resources. Maybe you need to address something with a family member associated with those things. This is what I have for you Aquarius for this full moon. Please let me know in the comments how things are going for you. I always read them, and if you liked and resonated with this video, please remember to give it a like, to subscribe, and to share it with anyone you think that could be helpful too. Thank you. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you could do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website. Hi, dear Pisces. Welcome to your full moon in Capricorn astrology prediction. On July 21st, we have a full moon in Capricorn in your 11th house at 29 degrees. This talks about some type of completion, a fated completion with a 29 degree being activated here. When it comes to your friends, when it comes to your friendships, maybe you are leaving a group of friends that were toxic, controlling in your life. That is because Pluto is also conjunct this full moon. This moon can highlight power struggles with your groups of friends, and it can be that you are finally deciding to take your power back and just leave and end certain friendships with people that are not serving you, that are not truthful to you, and that have manipulated you somehow. For others of you, this may talk about an ending when it comes to a long-term dream and goal that you've had for your life, to where you accomplish it, you complete it, or you just decide to end it and transform it into something different, into something new with Pluto being activated again. The full moon is happening in an earth sign. So if you have any planets or points from 26 to 29 degrees in the sign of Pisces, then you are positively aspected by this full moon, so it could be less intense for you. However, I do want to say that full moons are generally intense, and then the 29 degree being here, it adds to the intensity. The 29 degrees, a karmic degree, talks about fated events. And then we also have Pluto, which is the planet of depth, of intensity again. This could feel like a very important ending, that you may feel it very deeply, also given that you are more of a sensitive sign. So very important endings is when it comes to your friendships, groups of friends, when it comes to your long-term dreams and goals that you have in your life. Also social groups, maybe social media also. For some of you, you may just decide to close your social media to remove the toxicity you've been getting out of them. I do want to mention that this this full moon is going to be reactivated by Pluto in the next 3 to 4 months, as Pluto is going to touch the 29 degree of Capricorn, where it moves to retrograde. So keep that in mind. And then another important detail to mention here is that this full moon is touching that great conjunction point that we had back in December 2020, which can really talk about the closure and kind of the same themes appearing as back then. So look back in your life in your around December 2020, or a couple of months later, what changed into your life, what decisions did you make, as you may see some type of closure, some type of spotlight associated with it. On this full moon though, what I really like is the positive aspect it's creating to Mars, sitting at 0 degrees of Gemini in your 4th house. Mars is also at a critical degree here, so this talks about fated events, and specifically for you, you can have a family member that is really helping you, supporting you emotionally or in different ways to be able to have this kind of closure in your life. Your family members are like passionate and driven to really help you go through this thing and complete something, bring something into completion in your 11th house matters. This full moon is also creating a positive aspect to Neptune, which is your ruler, sitting in your 1st house. So for a lot of you Pisces, you may feel optimistic. You may feel like this closure could really fix your image, your identity, who you are as a person, and how other people see you. This can really reshape you, and you feel very optimistic and have a positive outlook related to this ending. Now again, the ending could not be an easy one, but it's a necessary one, and Neptune touching this from a 29 degree, from a karmic degree also, can really talk about you feeling optimistic about it, but also having a touch of compassion associated with your 11th house matters. If it's a friend that you have to end something with, then you have some compassion, you feel like you can forgive them and just move on with your life, things like that. So Neptune gives you that compassion, that love for the other people, but Pluto there is to give you that power back so that you can transform yourself, your life, your friendships, as Pluto moves back into Capricorn and then again into Aquarius for a long time. On this same day, Venus is in your 6th house and is making positive aspects to Jupiter in your 4th house, but also to the nodes that are sitting in your 2nd and 8th houses. Venus here in the 6th house is helping you in your career, at your job, communicating with colleagues. They support you, they like you, you're having a good time with them. And then Jupiter in your 4th house is asking you to expand in your household. these two benefics, communicating with each other, talk about feeling feeling complete on a daily basis, feeling complete in your fourth house matters, feeling complete in your family. Now, Saturn is going to square Jupiter soon, and so it may bring some challenges later on, but I feel like during this time, this Venus-Jupiter connection can really talk about having good understandings with your family members and being able to accomplish your daily tasks, your daily routines, and doing so in a way that is pleasant. For some of you, you may address self-sabotaging patterns in your mental mind, with Venus being your 8th house ruler, and sitting in your 6th house of health. Can talk about you addressing and trying to heal from self-sabotaging patterns, again, from negative thinking, things that are not serving you anymore. You may even be using shared resources and finances to address some type of health issue, to change your diet, maybe to change your workout routine. The nodes are sitting in your 2nd and 8th houses, making a beautiful aspect to Venus in your 6th. So this talks about using your personal finances, your shared resources, to be able to have some kind of change in your daily routines, in your tasks that you run on a daily basis, but also in your health and maybe in your career also. An intense aspect that we have on this day also is Mercury sitting on your 6th house in a square to Uranus in your 3rd house. And this is an intense one, besides the full moon in itself. But this talks about some of you, Pisces, feeling restless associated with daily changes that you may experience, having to think about, I have to do this, I have to do that on your day-to-day life, or just taking on new projects at work if you're working. With Uranus transiting your 3rd house, this can talk about feeling restless, mentally, especially mentally. So keep that in mind. Try to treat yourself with love and with understanding that it's okay, to feel a little anxious and restless, especially with such big transformations that this full moon is bringing into your life and into all of our lives, really. But this is what I have for you, Pisces, for this full moon. Please let me know how things are going for you. And if you liked and resonated with this video, please remember to give it a like and to subscribe. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you could do so through my website, takingyoutothestars.com. It will be under the services tab, and at the moment I'm offering multiple readings, such as personal birth chart reading, 1-year transit, positivity chart reading, which basically focuses on the positive sides of your chart, vocation, money reading, love reading, and astrocartography. However, if you really want me to do another reading or a simple, different consultation with me, you can just send me an email at takingyoutothestars@gmail.com. That's also listed on my website.